You're sitting there right now making a choice. Every second that passes, you're deciding who you become. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, this moment. You think you're just listening, but you're actively choosing whether to stay the same person who walked in here or become someone different. Raise your hand if you've ever tried to force a door that was meant to be pulled. Keep it up. Look around. Most of us have done this. We push harder when we should change direction. We use more force when we need more intelligence. This is exactly what you're doing with your life. What if everything you've been taught about pushing harder is wrong? What if the answer isn't more pressure, but better positioning? What if instead of forcing doors to open, you became someone doors open for naturally? Here's what nobody wants to tell you. You have more power than you realize, and you're giving most of it away. Every time you blame your circumstances, you hand over your authority. Every time you say, I can't, because you choose weakness over strength. Every time you wait for conditions to be perfect, you choose delay over progress. Let me tell you about Sarah. 3 years ago, she was working 60-hour weeks, chasing a promotion that never came. She was forcing every conversation, pushing every interaction, demanding recognition for her efforts. She was exhausted, frustrated, and getting nowhere fast. Sound familiar? Then something shifted. Instead of fighting for the promotion, she started developing the skills that would make her promotion inevitable. Instead of forcing her boss to notice her, she became someone impossible to ignore. She stopped chasing opportunities and started creating them. What changed? She stopped trying to force outcomes and started focusing on becoming the type of person those outcomes naturally flow to. She stopped pushing doors and started becoming someone doors opened for automatically. The promotion came 6 months later, but here's what's important. It wasn't because she finally pushed hard enough. It was because she had become someone who deserved it so obviously that not promoting her would have been foolish. When did you decide to give your power away to things outside your control? When did you start believing that your success depended on other people's decisions, market conditions, or lucky breaks? When did you convince yourself that you're not in charge of your own results? Because here's the truth that changes everything. You are not a victim of your circumstance. You are a product of your choices. Every single day, you choose who to become through 1,000 small decisions. You choose whether to learn or ignore, whether to grow or stay stagnant, whether to take responsibility or make excuses. Success doesn't come from conquering external circumstance. It comes from developing yourself until external circumstances become irrelevant. It comes from building yourself into someone so valuable, so skilled, so prepared, that opportunities find you instead of you chasing them. Think about a farmer for a moment. Can a farmer force a seed to grow fast? Can he grab the stem and pull it out of the ground to speed up the process? Of course not. But can he create the perfect conditions for growth? Can he prepare the soil, provide the right nutrients, ensure adequate water, and protect from pests? Absolutely. This is the difference between forcing and allowing. Forcing is trying to create results without doing the internal work. Allowing is doing the internal work so thoroughly that results become inevitable. Most people try to force success. They network without having value to offer. They start businesses without developing business skills. They seek relationships without becoming the type of person worth being in a relationship with. They want the harvest without planting the seeds. But successful people understand a different approach. They focus on becoming the type of person success naturally flows to. They build themselves into someone so competent, so reliable, so valuable, that opportunities can't help but appear. When you're building a house, what comes first? The foundation or the walls? The walls or the roof? There's a natural order. You can't force the roof to go on before the walls are ready. You can't skip the foundation and expect the structure to last. Your life works the same way. Skills before success, character before recognition, value before rewards, preparation before opportunity. This isn't just nice philosophy. This is how the world actually works. Yet most people want to skip levels. They want the corner office without developing leadership skills. They want the relationship without becoming relationship worthy. They want the business success without understanding business fundamentals. They want to force the roof onto a foundation that isn't ready. Here's where it gets interesting. Small improvements, done consistently, create massive results over time. Not because of magic, but because of mathematics. If you improve just 1% every day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That's not inspiration. That's calculation. Let me give you specifics. Read 10 pages a day, and you'll finish 12 books in a year. While others are making excuses about not having time to read, you'll have consumed 12 complete books worth of knowledge. Walk 2 miles every day, and you'll cover 730 miles in a year. Learn 1 new word daily, and your vocabulary will transform completely. The problem isn't that people don't know this. The problem is they abandon small habits for dramatic gestures. They skip their daily reading to attend a weekend seminar. They ignore consistent exercise to try extreme diets. They avoid steady learning to chase quick fixes. But here's what I've observed. The people who achieve extraordinary results are doing extraordinarily ordinary things. They're just doing them with extraordinary consistency. Marcus was making minimum wage at 25, no college degree, no special connections, no startup capital, but he had made a decision. He would read for 30 minutes every morning about sales and persuasion. That's it, 30 minutes. His friends thought it was pointless. What could 30 minutes really do? But Marcus understood something they didn't. Those 30 minutes would compound day after day, week after week, month after month. The knowledge would accumulate. The skills would develop. The confidence would build. 5 years later, Marcus was earning 6 figures in sales. Not because of one big break, not because someone finally noticed his hard work, because he had systematically built himself into someone who earned 6 figures. The income was just a reflection of who he had become. This is how growth actually works. Not through force, but through consistent pressure applied in the right direction over time, like water carving through rock. Not through violence, but through persistence. Nature operates in patterns. Seasons cycle predictably. Tides rise and fall on schedule. Plants grow according to natural timing. And your success follows natural patterns too, if you understand them and work with them instead of against them. Winter comes before spring. Preparation comes before harvest. Struggle comes before strength. This isn't punishment. This is process. The question isn't whether you'll face difficult seasons. The question is whether you'll use them to prepare for the growth seasons that follow. Successful people understand this rhythm. When times are tough, they don't waste energy complaining about the weather. They use the time to build skills, save resources, and prepare for when conditions improve. When opportunities arise, they're ready to act because they've been preparing during the quiet seasons. Most people fight the seasons. They resent the preparation time and then wonder why they're not ready when opportunity knocks. They want spring results with winter effort. They want harvest rewards without planting season work. But once you see the pattern, you gain power. You stop fighting the natural flow and start riding it. You stop forcing timing and start preparing for timing. You stop trying to control what happens and start controlling how ready you are for what happens. What season are you in right now? Are you in a building season where you should be developing skills and gathering resources? Are you in a planting season where you should be starting new projects and taking calculated risks? Are you in a harvest season where you should be maximizing current opportunities? And here's the crucial question. Are you working with your current season or fighting against it? Are you trying to force spring growth in winter conditions, or are you using winter to prepare for spring? Because here's what I've learned after watching thousands of people succeed and fail. The ones who succeed aren't necessarily the most talented or the most connected or the most lucky. They're the ones who understand patterns and position themselves accordingly. They don't force doors. They become people doors open for. They don't chase opportunities. They prepare themselves so thoroughly that opportunities chase them. They don't fight against natural timing. They work with it until timing works for them. This is the foundation everything else builds on. Once you understand that success comes from internal development rather than external force, everything changes. Once you see that patterns exist and can be used to your advantage, you gain power you never knew you had. But understanding patterns is just the beginning, because life operates in predictable cycles, and your ability to recognize these cycles determines whether you ride them to success or get crushed by fighting against them. Life isn't random, it's rhythmic. Once you start seeing the patterns, you can't unsee them. Economic cycles create different opportunities every few years. Your personal energy follows predictable rhythms throughout the day, week, and month. Relationships go through natural phases that require different approaches. Even your motivation and creativity have cycles. The people who win consistently aren't the ones fighting these patterns. They're the ones riding them. Who here has noticed that certain types of opportunities seem to come in waves? Raise your hand if you've experienced that. You go months without any interesting prospects, then suddenly 3 amazing opportunities appear in the same week. This isn't coincidence. This is patterns. Successful people prepare during the quiet periods so they can act decisively when opportunity waves arrive. Unsuccessful people complain during quiet periods and panic when opportunities flood in because they're not ready. Think about the economy. Every few years there's a downturn. Every few years there's growth. This has happened for decades. It will continue happening, yet most people act surprised every single time. They make the same mistakes during every cycle because they refuse to see the pattern. Smart investors buy during downturns and sell during peaks. Smart employees develop skills during slow periods and capitalize during busy periods. Smart business owners save during good times and expand during recovery times. They work with the rhythm instead of fighting it. But here's what determines everything: how you respond to these cycles. 2 people can face identical circumstances and create completely opposite results. Same storm, different sailors, different destinations. When the 2008 recession hit, millions of people lost jobs. Some spent their time complaining about the unfairness and waiting for things to get better. Others used the time to learn new skills, start businesses, or change careers entirely. Same economic pattern, completely different responses, completely different outcomes. One group saw the recession as something happening to them. The other group saw it as something happening for them. One group waited for external conditions to improve. The other group improved themselves while conditions were challenging. Your response to any situation is more important than the situation itself. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control what happens within you. You cannot force external circumstances to change, but you can change yourself until external circumstances become irrelevant. During difficult cycles, the question isn't, why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this teaching me? Every challenge contains information. Every setback reveals something about your preparation, your thinking, or your approach. Most people waste this information by focusing on blame instead of learning. Here's how to use challenging cycles to your advantage. First, see difficulties as strength training for your character and skills. A muscle only grows when it faces resistance. Your capabilities only expand when they're tested. What feels like a problem is actually preparation for the next level of your life. Second, use setbacks as setup for comeback. Every successful person has a comeback story because every successful person has experienced setbacks. The setback isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your comeback chapter. But only if you respond correctly. Third, ask better questions during tough times. Instead of why me, ask, what now? Instead of how long will this last, ask, how can I use this? Instead of who's to blame, ask, what can I control? When opportunity cycles arrive, most people miss them because they're unprepared. Opportunity doesn't knock, it whispers, and it only whispers to people whose minds are prepared to hear it. A prepared mind recognizes possibilities that others miss entirely. Here's your strategy for opportunity cycles. Act quickly, but don't force timing. When you see a genuine opportunity that matches your preparation, move fast. But don't try to create opportunities that aren't there yet. Don't force doors that aren't ready to open. Build when the building is good. When conditions favor growth, focus on expansion. When conditions favor learning, focus on development. When conditions favor networking, focus on relationships. Match your activities to the natural flow of your circumstances. Use this simple framework to navigate any cycle. Get clear on where you are. Plan your route based on current conditions. Start moving in the right direction. GPS for your life. Position, planning, progress. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They understand the patterns, they know the strategies, but they defeat themselves through their own behaviors. They become their own biggest obstacle. Who here has ever said, I don't have time for something important, while spending hours on activities that don't matter? Be honest, keep your hands up. This is self-sabotage in action. You're not lacking time, you're lacking priority clarity. You have time for everything you truly value. You find time for medical emergencies. You find time for family crises. You find time for things that matter to you. When you say, I don't have time, you're really saying this isn't important enough to me. Which is fine, but be honest about it. How about this one? I'm not ready. Who's used this excuse? Ready for what? Nobody feels ready for their next level. Readiness is a feeling, not a fact. You don't become ready by waiting. You become ready by starting before you feel ready. The people who are ready for opportunities got ready by taking opportunities before they felt prepared. They built confidence through action, not through planning. They discovered their capabilities by testing them, not by analyzing them. Here's another classic. It's too late for me. Compared to whom? Too late according to what timeline? Ray Kroc started McDonald's at 52. Laura Ingalls Wilder published her first Little House book at 64. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was 70. The only thing that makes it too late is your decision to stop trying. Age is not a barrier to growth. Experience is not a liability. Starting later means starting with more wisdom, more resources, and fewer illusions about overnight success. But the deepest form of self-sabotage is blame. Blame feels good temporarily, but it's poison long-term. Every minute you spend blaming someone else is a minute you could have spent improving yourself. Every ounce of energy you put into blame is energy stolen from solution. Blame gives you the illusion of being right while keeping you powerless. You get to feel righteous about your circumstances while remaining stuck in them. It's the most expensive luxury you can afford because it costs you your future. Successful people avoid blame like poison because they understand what it costs. They'd rather be powerful than right. They'd rather solve problems than analyze who caused them. They'd rather take responsibility they don't deserve than give away power they need. Here's the difference between success mentality and mediocrity mentality. Listen carefully, because this distinction will change how you approach everything. Mediocrity asks, how little can I do and still get by? Success asks, how much value can I create? One focuses on minimum effort, the other focuses on maximum impact. Mediocrity thinks someone should fix this problem. Success thinks, how can I solve this problem? One waits for external solutions, the other becomes the solution. Mediocrity says that this is not my job. Success says, how can I help? One protects territory, the other expands influence. Mediocrity focuses on hours worked. Success focuses on results created. One measures input, the other measures output. Mediocrity complains about problems. Success profits from solving them. One sees obstacles, the other sees equinox. Which questions are you asking yourself daily? Because your questions determine your focus. Your focus determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. Jennifer worked at a company where everyone complained about inefficient systems. The mediocrity mentality said management should fix this. Jennifer had a success mentality. She said, how can I improve this? She spent her lunch breaks learning the software better. She created simple solutions for common problems. She shared these solutions with her team. 6 months later, she was promoted to systems manager, not because she complained the loudest, but because she solved problems instead of just identifying them. She became the solution to the company's problem instead of just another voice pointing out what was wrong. The compound effect of mental patterns is massive. Ask limiting questions consistently, and you'll create a limiting life. Ask empowering questions consistently, and you'll create an empowering life. Your mind doesn't know the difference between questions you ask yourself and questions that reflect reality. It just answers whatever you ask. Now, how do you eliminate negative patterns that have become automatic? How do you stop sabotaging yourself when the sabotage happens faster than your conscious mind can catch it? Use this 3-step process: catch, challenge, change. First, catch the pattern in the moment. Develop awareness of your automatic thoughts and responses. You can't change what you don't notice. Second, challenge the pattern. Ask, is this thought serving my future self? Is this action moving me toward my goals? Is this response creating the outcome I want? Most negative patterns crumble under questioning. Third, change the pattern by replacing it with something empowering. Don't just stop the negative, replace it with positive. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't fill the space with something better, the old pattern will return. For example, catch yourself saying, I can't afford it. Challenge, is this thought helping me find solutions? Change, how can I afford it? Or what would I need to do to afford it? Catch yourself thinking, this is too hard. Challenge, is this helping me grow? Change, this is helping me become stronger. Or what's the next small step I can take? Catch yourself saying, I don't know how. Challenge, is this keeping me stuck? Change: who can teach me? Or where can I learn this? The key is repetition. New patterns become automatic through consistent practice. You're literally rewiring your brain by choosing different thoughts and responses repeatedly. But here's what makes the difference between people who change temporarily and people who change permanently. They understand that personal transformation requires daily discipline, not just good intentions. They know that extraordinary results don't come from extraordinary action. They come from ordinary actions done with extraordinary consistency. Which brings us to the question that determines everything. What are you going to do differently starting tomorrow morning? Extraordinary results don't require extraordinary action. They require ordinary actions done with extraordinary consistency. This isn't motivational theory. This is mathematical reality. Who here believes in overnight success? Anyone still holding on to that fantasy? Here's the truth that will set you free. There is no overnight success. There are only years of preparation that nobody sees, followed by moments of recognition that everybody notices. The difference between people who achieve their goals and people who abandon them isn't talent, it isn't luck, it isn't connections, it's daily discipline. It's the willingness to do small, seemingly insignificant things every single day. Even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't see immediate results. Your morning routine sets the trajectory for your entire day. The first hour after you wake up determines whether you'll spend the day reacting to circumstances or creating the circumstances you want. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, letting other people's priorities hijack their mental state before they've even gotten out of bed. But successful people understand that the morning belongs to them. They use it to prepare their mind, strengthen their body, and clarify their priorities before the world starts making demands on their attention. Here's a simple morning sequence that will change everything. Spend 5 minutes planning your day's priorities. Not your to-do list, your priorities. What are the 3 most important things that must happen today for you to feel successful? Write them down. Everything else is secondary. Then spend 10 minutes learning something new. Read a few pages of a book in your field. Watch an educational video. Listen to a podcast episode. Feed your mind before you feed your inbox. Growth happens in the margins, in the small spaces most people waste. Finally, move your body for 15 minutes. Walk, stretch, exercise. Do something that increases your heart rate and gets your blood flowing. Physical energy creates mental energy. Mental energy creates better decisions. Better decisions create better results. That's 30 minutes total. 30 minutes that most people spend scrolling through other people's highlight reels or hitting the snooze button. But those 30 minutes done consistently will compound into a completely different life within a year. Start with just one element. If 30 minutes feels overwhelming, maybe just a 5-minute planning session, do that consistently for 2 weeks until it becomes automatic. Then add the learning component. Build the habit gradually, but build it permanently. Learning must become a daily discipline, not an occasional activity. In a world where information changes rapidly, the people who stop learning become obsolete. The people who commit to constant growth become irreplaceable. Read for 30 minutes daily in your field. That's roughly 1 book per month, 12 books per year. While your competition is making excuses about not having time to read, you'll have absorbed 12 complete books worth of knowledge and insight. Listen to educational content during your commute. Transform your car into a mobile university. Instead of music or news, listen to audiobooks, podcasts, or training programs. Turn dead time into growth time. But here's the crucial part. Apply one new thing immediately. Don't just consume information. Use knowledge without application is just entertainment. Take one idea from everything you learn and implement it within 24 hours. The compound effect of daily learning over 5 years is staggering. You'll know more, see more opportunities, make better decisions, and solve problems that others can't. You'll become the person others come to for answers because you've invested in becoming that person through consistent daily growth. Sarah committed to reading 30 minutes every morning about leadership and communication. She was a mid-level manager struggling to get her team's respect. 5 years later, she's running her own consulting company, teaching other managers the leadership principles she learned through her daily reading habit. The knowledge didn't just make her smarter, it made her more valuable. It made her irreplaceable. It made her the solution to problems her company didn't even know they had. But learning without contributing creates an unbalanced life. You must give value as consistently as you gain knowledge. Make this your daily question. How can I add value today? Not this week. Not when you have time. Today. Help one person solve a problem they're facing. Share one insight that could benefit someone in your network. Improve one process or system in your workplace. Make one small contribution that leaves the world slightly better than you found it. This isn't about grand gestures or heroic actions. It's about consistent, small contributions that compound over time. The person who helps one person daily helps 365 people per year. The person who improves one small thing daily creates 30. Value creation attracts opportunities naturally. You don't have to chase success when you consistently create value for others. Success starts chasing you. Opportunities start appearing because you've become someone opportunities flow toward. People start seeking your advice because you've become known as someone who helps. Promotions start coming because you've become indispensable. Business opportunities start materializing because you've built a reputation for delivering value. Your physical energy affects everything else you do. Your body is the foundation your entire life is built on. Neglect your health and every other discipline becomes harder. Maintain your health and every other discipline becomes easier. Make these physical disciplines non-negotiable. Move your body for 20 minutes every day. This doesn't require a gym membership or expensive equipment. Walk, run, do bodyweight exercises, play sports, dance. Just move consistently. Eat one nutritious meal every day. Start with one. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just commit to making one healthy choice daily. Your body will start craving better nutrition naturally as you build the habit. Prioritize sleep like you prioritize important meetings. Your brain needs rest to function optimally. Your body needs recovery to perform consistently. Sleep isn't lazy. Sleep is strategic. Physical energy creates mental clarity. Mental clarity improves decision making. Better decisions create better outcomes. This isn't just about feeling better. This is about performing better in every area of your life. But daily disciplines are just the foundation. You need weekly and monthly systems to ensure you're building in the right direction. Every week, ask yourself 3 questions. What worked this week? What needs adjustment? What are next week's priorities? Spend 15 minutes reviewing and planning. This prevents you from repeating mistakes and ensures you're making progress toward your larger goals. Each month, choose one skill to develop and practice it for 30 minutes daily. In 12 months, you'll have significantly improved 12 different capabilities. While others are making New Year's resolutions they'll abandon by February, you'll be systematically building a more valuable version of yourself. Every quarter, assess your major goals and adjust your approach based on what you've learned. Are you making progress? Do your goals still align with who you're becoming? What needs to change for the next quarter? Once a year, step back and review your entire life direction. Are you becoming the person you want to be? Are you building the life you actually want? Sometimes the most important decision is changing direction when you realize you're climbing the wrong mountain. Here's how to create urgency without burning yourself out. Understand the difference between sustainable pace and unsustainable sprinting. You're not trying to change everything overnight. You're trying to build systems that you can maintain for years, not weeks. Set deadlines that stretch you but don't break you. Create accountability by telling others about your commitments. Celebrate small wins to build momentum toward larger goals. Progress creates motivation more effectively. Then motivation creates progress. Find your sustainable pace and maintain it consistently. A steady pace over time beats intense bursts, followed by collapse. The turtle beats the rabbit not through speed, but through consistency. What pace can you maintain for years, not just weeks? That's your target pace. Build your disciplines around what you can sustain long term, not what sounds impressive short term. Now, what can you start today? Choose one morning habit to implement tomorrow. Maybe it's the 5-minute planning session. Maybe it's 10 minutes of reading. Maybe it's 15 minutes of movement. Choose one and commit to it for 2 weeks. Identify one skill to develop this month. What capability would make the biggest difference in your life or career? Commit to practicing it for 30 minutes daily. By the end of the month, you'll have invested 15 hours in becoming better at something important. Find one way to add value to someone this week. Look for opportunities to help, contribute, or solve problems. Make it your mission to leave every interaction slightly better than you found it. Start with 5-minute commitments. If larger ones feel overwhelming, 5 minutes of planning, 5 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of exercise. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes. And 5 minutes consistently will grow into larger commitments naturally. Add complexity only after you've established consistency. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on building the habit first, then expanding it. Systems work better than goals because systems create the conditions that make goals inevitable. Avoid the common mistakes that derail most people. Don't try to change everything simultaneously. Don't set unrealistic standards that guarantee failure. Don't abandon your disciplines after the first setback. Expect resistance. Expect days when you don't feel motivated. Expect your old patterns to fight for survival. This is normal. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel about doing it. Remember why you're doing this. You're not just building better habits. You're building a better version of yourself. You're not just changing your behavior. You're changing your identity. You're becoming someone success flows to naturally instead of someone who has to force it. You came here making choices. Every second, every minute, every hour, you were choosing who to become. You'll leave here making different choices because you now understand that you have more power than you realized. The person you are today is the result of yesterday's disciplines. The person you'll be tomorrow starts with today's choice. This very moment is where your transformation begins, not someday when conditions are perfect. Your future self is watching what you do next. That future version of you is hoping you'll make the choices that create the life they're living. Every moment you delay is a moment you choose to stay the same instead of becoming better. Stop forcing doors to open. Start becoming someone doors open for naturally. Stop chasing opportunities. Start preparing yourself so thoroughly that opportunities chase you. Stop fighting against natural patterns. Start working with them until they work for you. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. The question isn't whether you can change your life. The question is whether you will. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Right now. Your transformation doesn't begin when you finish listening to this. It begins the moment you decide it begins. Choose this moment. Choose daily discipline over occasional effort. Choose consistent progress over dramatic gestures. Choose to become someone success flows to naturally. The most successful people in the world aren't forcing anything. They've built themselves into people that success naturally flows toward. They've created systems that make good choices automatic and bad choices difficult. You have everything you need to start. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you'll have a choice. You can hit snooze and stay the same person you've always been, or you can get up 5 minutes earlier and start becoming the person you're capable of being. That choice will determine everything. Because extraordinary lives are built one ordinary day at a time, through ordinary actions done with extraordinary consistency. Start tomorrow. Start with 5 minutes. Start with one small discipline. But start. Your future self is counting on the choice you make right now.